Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I am your highly discombobulated host, Jennifer. Welcome. It's Monday. I am trying to sort through my mini project bags to show you what we have made, because that's what we do on Mondays. We show our Monday makes. And I got this project bag. I got this project bag. I got this project bag. I have buckled down this week very specifically, and I have lost something that I was working on. Did I? Yeah, I made another one of those. Where did I put it? Didn't I? I'm so confused. Headband. That's what I made. I made a headband. Speaking of headbands, Karen. Not a Karen. The headband I am wearing in this video is the Granny Square headband tutorial here on the channel. I will try to remember to link it below. What did I do with the headband that I made? Oh, I bumped you. So, we're gonna have story time. Monday makes is always a little bit of, yeah, it's not in here. A little bit of what I've been making for the past 7 days, give or take. A yarn tangle of a mess. And a blog of what has been going on over the past however many times. Maybe I put it in this bag. I have made, it is definitely not in this bag, but we might as well pull that stuff out because there's so much to show you. In case you're new here, I'm never organized. My brain is in 5,000 places at once all the time. Try to move some of this out of the way. I know that I'm not crazy. Aha! It was in this bag. Oh, I use this as a project bag. This was a trick-or-treat bag when we went to Disney. Was it 2 weeks ago now? I made so many things. I made so many things, okay? Just all of the things. I've been really busy this week. In more ways than one. Get rid of that. Alright, now let's see if I can remember to show all of this to you. How are you guys doing? Well, I'm losing my ever-loving mind. Oh, so we're going to start with the crochet. And then we will move on to the blog.
Did you try it?
Yeah, it's good.
It's good?
Yeah. Mr. Cinnamon is making carne asada today. He had to go get propane, and he made some homemade pico de gallo. And he tends to seriously over-onionize it. And I can't, my stomach cannot tolerate onions. It's not that I don't like them, it's I can't. Onions, garlic, anything from the allium family, like my stomach is like, nope, reject. Can't eat that. It doesn't feel good. It's almost as bad as the gluten. It's not as bad as the gluten. Hey, lay down, baby. But still, like, so he loves onions. He puts extra onions on everything. And the past several times he's made pico de gallo, I could not eat it at all because it will make me violently ill. And so it's like a whole thing. And I was like, Juju, go taste it first, because she's got the same insides as I do. Her stomach works exactly the same as mine. Her body functions exactly the same as mine in a lot of ways. And it's really strange. And I apologize to her frequently for giving her bad genes, because this is a passed down thing. Like, my family is just, it's toxic through and through. We have bad genetics. We have all kinds of issues. Anyway, so, to get started this week, I put the blanket away, and this kind of goes into the bloggy area. The blanket I was working on that I showed you guys last week, that I'm designing, it was very hot outside. It was in the hundreds with the heat index, and our AC unit blew, which I will get into way more detail at the end of this video. If you're a cinnamon bun, if you are a member of this channel, you already know, because I blogged the entire day. You guys had clips from the entire day, and I actually had fun doing that, so that might be more members videos, is me just blogging throughout the day. Anyway, so I put that away, and I started working on smaller projects, which I will show you in a minute. But before that happened, I was sitting here and I was like, okay, well, I don't really want to work on the blanket because I'm kind of hot. And if you guys watched, I think it was Friday's video last week, there started to be signs that something was wrong with the AC, because I was in here and I was getting hot, and this is the coldest room in the entire house. I have one vent underneath this really cute little table thing I bought. There's one vent underneath that, which there's air, don't worry, there's plenty of airflow. But it makes this room like an icebox during the summer, and I have to close that vent in the winter because for some reason that vent is the most powerful of all the vents, which is weird because it's not the closest to the unit at all. It's closest to the AC unit, which is on this side, but it's not closest to the furnace, which is that way. It's the most powerful, so I close it because otherwise I get too hot. Anyway, so before all of that, I took a break from the blanket because I was getting hot, and I was like, okay, what can I work on? And then I decided, like, I'm looking through project bags, and I was like, okay, I remember hanging a project bag on my door up there. If you guys remember, do you want out? Hang on, Bentley wants out. Move your tail. Look at Daddy. If you remember, I did that Dollar Tree organization video not too long ago. I want to say last month. And I bought some over-the-door hooks, and I hang my project bags on it. That's in the tour video. I hung one of the project bags up there, and I remembered hanging it up there. I did not for the life of me remember what was in that project bag. Well, it was my autumn sunrise sweater in the color, I want to say Snapdragon. Remember, this is the original, and then we used that one and this one for the tutorial. I finished it. And as a matter of fact, I'll give you guys a little preview to show you what I have not weaved in the ends on anything. Nothing is weaved in. We know this about Cinnamon Stitches. She don't weave in the ends until she's wearing it, and sometimes even then. I still don't weave in the ends. I just walk around with ends hanging out. Alright, hang on. So it's gonna look ridiculous because I have a flowy shirt on underneath it. But there's a weird, maybe it's just in the camera. It looks weird right here. Anyway, this is it. We're at kind of a weird angle, and I have a, like I said, I have a blousey shirt on, but hi, what do you think? So, the sleeves don't really match, but that's part of the thing with Premier or Puzzle. Even the Puzzle Cotton, like, sometimes the colors just don't repeat themselves in the ball. I don't care about that. I still think it's really cute, and I made the sleeves a little bit longer on this one than on that one. So that one, the sleeves are about here. I added an extra couple rows here, and then instead of doing the ribbing, let me stand up again. I just did double crochet rows so that it's a little bit thicker. See, no ribbing. I saw a subscriber, I saw a lot of people have made this shirt, and they post in my Facebook group and Instagram, and I love it that they do that so I can see. And there's been a couple videos of podcasters making it, and they all, and I encourage this with all of my patterns, and I give you tips on how to change it up. I give lots of tips in the tutorials, like, hey, this is something else you can do. This is another idea you can do. This is what I'm doing, but here's another idea. And I do that because I encourage creativity and I encourage individuality. Don't just copy it so that it looks exactly like mine. Do what you feel is what you want it to be, right? And so I took inspiration back from some of you, and instead of doing ribbing, just did a solid double crochet on the top and the bottom, and it made my life easier. And so there is the Snapdragon colorway of the Autumn Sunrise, and that is the, I think, Sherbet colorway of the sweater. And it is way too hot to wear a sweater. I think today's forecast is going to be in the upper 80s, which is a lot cooler than in the hundreds. But this weather has been all over the place, and that's something else we're going to discuss. Okay, so we're just, you know what, we're going to mix the blog in with the regular posts. We're just going to mix it in. We're going to have mixed detail, okay? So, AC unit blue. Mr. Cinnamon assumed he knew what was wrong with it because the same thing happened last year. And apparently, we found out in the process, it's something called the capacitor, okay? And I keep wanting to call it the flux capacitor, but it's a capacitor. We had it replaced last year because it blew. And apparently, there's three-pronged ones, and two-pronged ones. And the guy who repaired it last year, he tried to charge us a lot of money. We ended up paying it because we were desperate for a $12 part. And Mr. Cinnamon called him on it. He's like, you're charging me $150 for a $12 part. He goes, well, I got to make money. He said, but I tell you what, I'll show you how to fix it. He showed us how to fix the capacitor in case it blows again. But what he failed to tell us is that he didn't have a three-pronged capacitor in his truck. He had a two-pronged and a something else in his truck. And he zip-tied them together and rigged it so that it worked, but it was a temporary fix. And I'm like, okay, you charge us $150 for a temporary fix. You didn't even get the right part put in. Frustrating, right? So Mr. Cinnamon ordered the two parts that were in the unit. We only needed a three-pronged one. Still only cost us $12 because like it's Amazon. And now we have a bonus one that's extra. Everything worked out. It's fine. However, it was a part that had to be ordered. So it took over 24 hours for the part to arrive here because it was an Amazon situation, which ain't that bad. We didn't know any place local that we could purchase the part at, but our mail lady, and this is all part of the video that I made for the members on here this weekend because I was blogging throughout the day, so they got a lot of little bits and pieces of what had happened throughout the day, you know. And the mail lady was like, she was out there and she saw Mr. Cinnamon sweating. She's all, you all right? What's going on? And she's really nice and friendly. We talked to her and he told her, and she's all, you know, you can get the capacitor at this place over by my house. And she told us where to go. So next time, hopefully there's not a next time. Let's be real. It was miserable. It was, I think it topped out at 107 degrees with the heat index outside. It got up to almost 90 degrees inside the house. Nothing I did cooled anything off. We were miserable. We barely slept. The dogs were miserable. They were panting all night. Little man slept on the floor in my bedroom and we had fans in all directions just to try to keep the air circulating in the room. And I figured if I closed off the doors and I opened the windows and got like a vortex happening in the room, that it would cool it off. And it cooled it off enough for us to sleep, but it not sleep comfortably or soundly for that matter. It was miserable. It was just too hot to even survive. It was like, it was bad. I am really sensitive to heat. I have had heat stroke. I can't do the heat. Mr. Cinnamon is horribly, miserably cranky in the heat, like really bad. Little man, not as bad. Juju's kind of chill, like with whatever. We tried going in the pool. It was too hot even in the pool. Like the pool helped a little bit. We took cold showers, put our bodies into a little bit of shock. That helped for a short period of time. Like it was just, the next day I was so grateful that Juju had college and little man had school because they would be out of the house and I'd be here miserable, like dealing with the heat. Mr. Cinnamon even was supposed to go into work, but he's all, I'm just gonna stay home and be miserable with you. We can go get in the car when it's too hot and we'll drive around, cool off. And that's what we did. And I blogged all of this, sitting in the parking lot at Walmart. He's working on his computer. I'm crocheting little bits because it's all I could manage. It was an intense day. It was, and we got everything fixed for the $12 part. Mr. Cinnamon went out there and fixed it. And we were only miserable for just slightly over 24 hours. But it was miserable. Okay? And in all of that process, I decided, because I couldn't work on the really hot blanket, and I didn't have anything else started, and I forgot about the Jujus Stitches blanket, but even that's a blanket, and I didn't want a blanket on me because it's hot. I wanted something small, lightweight. So I got an idea. I wanted to make a placemat, and I wanted to learn mosaic. I don't know why. Actually, I do know why. My inspiration for the mosaic came from Where did I put? It's over here. These were sent to me for my birthday Happy Mail, and I showed these. These were from a cinnamon bun. I was so impressed with these bags. These are now my favorite project little Notion pouches because they are absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. And I was so impressed by this. I wanted to learn how to do this. And so I was like, okay, well, if I learn how to do this, I can do something small. And I actually, after I showed this, now tell me my phone and the TV's not listening to us, okay? Because I showed this in a video, did not look this video up, did not look up this tutorial, did not look up any way how to make this project bag. I just mentioned it in my video and then YouTube shows it to me. The exact tutorial, how to make one of these. I was like, you're listening. Always listening. They're always watching. All right, so anyway, this inspired me so much. So I'm like, I want to learn how to do this. And she told me how to make this in the letter that she sent me. And she said that this was like the Apache Tears and it's in the round and it's really easy. And I'm like, there's no way that's easy. It looks hard. It looks hard, right? So I'm looking up, I'm like, okay, well, what can I make this small? And I'm like, okay, I can make placemats, right? So I looked up tutorials and patterns for mosaic placemats and I ran across this pattern. I think this is Yarn Red Heart. It was Red Heart. It was Red Heart. It was supposed to be made with Red Heart Super Saver. I used cotton because cotton was on my desk already and I'm hot. We've covered this, right? I hated this pattern. I hated this pattern. Is rubbish. It's utter garbage, okay? This pattern is garbage. First of all, when you do mosaic crochet, these patterns call for the special stitches to all lay on one side. And in order to get that, you have to, this pattern called for you working it left to right, but you got the wrong side facing you and you're still crocheting on this side. And to me, that doesn't make sense. That makes it harder than it has to be. Why not just work every row left to right or right to left if you're left-handed, okay? Or whatever. The same direction every time, right? That makes more sense to me than working stitches on the side that's facing away from your face. Like that's just, now I'm crocheting this way up the side because I got to keep flipping it back and forth. So I got this far in the placemat, which first of all, this is a giant placemat. Everything about the pattern I hated. I just hated everything. I even watched the tutorial and I'm yelling at the TV because it makes no sense what they're doing. It was stupid. I was mad. So I got this far and I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going any further. I hate this. And I don't want to hate something I'm learning. And also, like, this is supposed to make a pattern, but it looks so random that it was not making sense and I picked the wrong yarn and like everything. But I learned things from this. So what I did is I turned it into a headband that will not ever be a tutorial or see the light of day because I hated this. But it's a headband, it's functioning. So we moved on, right? I went and got different cotton yarn. And I totally messed this one up. And the cinnamon buns know how and where and why. Because it's all part of that daily blog thing where I just videoed bits all day, right? And I pulled out a mug rug pattern. The Apache Tears mug rug pattern. I don't remember where I found it. It's on my phone. But this is gorgeous. This I'm in love with. I really enjoyed making this so much that I made a second one. So this is, what yarn did I use? Oh, this was my Premier Cotton. My ice cream cone of cotton. I dropped it. So this is the blue jean colorway that used to be on a cone, and this is, I don't remember, golden oak or something. This is just Premier Cotton with dog hair on it. And it created this, which I am in love with. Absolutely in love with. Now what this pattern does differently is it works the same direction. You cut off, tie off, go start the next row. I like it because I like the fringe. You don't have to do anything extra at the end except unravel your yarn and cut it, right? It was easy. It was easy. It turned out beautiful. And see how the darker and the lighter of the different variations of those yarn. I just really like the way it looks. This is not perfect because one end seems like there's less stitches than the other. Oh no. Oh, maybe 1 or 2 stitches that I missed. I learned a lot from this. And then I was like, okay, well, what yarn? And the cinnamon buns again. They know why, the wheres and the hows, okay? Because I was talking through the whole process and I was trying to figure out, because I want to make a tutorial for a placemat in the Apache tiers so that we can learn mosaic, which it is way ridiculously easier than it looks, okay? And I'm going to walk you through all of this, so don't be scared of that. It's going to be a thing to teach us new techniques, and we're going to make this project together. And I was trying to determine what yarn I wanted to use. So this is the, what did I do with that bag? Disney bag. This one is, that's not right, but where did I put it? What bag is it in? This bag. This bag. I took the little, you remember I did the review on the jeans yarn, but I bought the sample pack. So I have all these little bonbons of the jeans yarn. And I was like, that would be perfect because it's kind of like using scraps. And the jean colors go together, even though I'm not a big fan of this rusty color. And actually, I don't remember the names of these because these little bonbons are not marked. But this is supposed to be the thread on your blue jeans. And this is like one of the darker, oh, this one's Stonewash. It does say on there. This one is Top Stitch. This one is Stonewash. So I just grabbed 2 of the jean yarns out of my drawer. I am so in love with this yarn and the way it works up. I mean, and it matches the Apache tiers, the native look to it, because it looks like native woven work is what it reminds me of. And this one is different from this pattern because I made some adjustments. I changed the top and the bottom. I changed the way that was done. And I was just making adjustments based on the placemat that I want to design. So this is a miniature placemat. This is, again, a mug rug, but this one's made out of acrylic. This one was made out of cotton. You can use either or, but for the tutorial, I really like the jeans yarn. And then I also am doing the placemat in Heartland. So this is Heartland. I had a scrap ball of Heartland. This is what the back looks like. Even the back looks cool. This is the front. So this is going to be for Lion Brand Week. And I'm telling you guys, the jeans yarn would be a fantastic baby blanket. It makes I mean, it works up so, it's so squish and soft. It's absolutely beautiful. And every time I use the jeans yarn, I fall more and more in love with it. Like, I just love it so much. And I'm definitely digging the blues with the Apache, and I don't know why. So this is an exact half size model. Well, I don't know what you would call it. It's like 50% of the, but it's not really, because it's not to scale. So I started off, the stitches are, it's half the width, so it's a quarter scale. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a quarter scale because it will fit 4 of these on the size of the placemat. This is taking significantly longer than the little mug rugs because it's like I'm making 4 mug rugs, but this is, and I'm going to show you how to do the mug rug, and I'm going to show you how to do the placemat tutorial in the tutorial for Lion Brand Week. But this is something I'm working on. Is this not gorgeous? Does this not make you want to stare at it all day long? And now that I'm looking at it through the camera, it kind of reminds me of Donkey Kong, or yeah, Donkey Kong, like Mario going up the little. So I worked on that this week. I'm really proud of that. And I have to take that with us tonight because little man is going to an event with his cousin. She bought tickets to wrestling and they're going to go see, I think, Sunday Night Slammer or something like that. And he's never been to a nighttime event. He is so stoked. He is so excited. It's like going to a concert. I get to go to my first nighttime event because he's been at daytime events, you know, because it's just best sometimes to take him to daytime events and nighttime events because he gets a little wild at night. So he's really excited. He's so excited. But to do that, we have to drive over the mountain, take them to the event, and then we're renting a hotel. And luckily, Mr. Cinnamon has enough points, like, added up from all of his travel lately that, like, we either get a discount or we get free rooms quite frequently. So, I mean, that helps. So then, let's fast forward to Jujus Stitches, because now we're going to talk about her. So, she did a live yesterday, well, in my world yesterday, it was Saturday. She's making a granny sweater out of her granny squares, which is going to be so much fun to watch. I'm not doing it because I already have a granny square sweater that I made myself, and I did not enjoy the process of sewing the pieces together. I don't like granny squares. I like granny shells, which is why I made this sweater, which is why I made this sweater. I like the one we made from Maxim Yarns. It was a big giant square. What was that called? Something granny. I don't remember. You guys know the tutorial. So I've made several granny stitch sweaters, and I've made the granny square one, which I really need to find that. Anyway, because that's a winter wear item. It's too hot for all that. Anyway, so I'm sitting here watching Jujus N Stitches, right? I was eating my lunch. Mr. Cinnamon stopped and got us it's called an Italian salad, but really it's like antipasto salad. It's got like deli meat and cheese on it and salad, okay? And I threw on some pepperoncinis on there, and I had black olives and all that. It's one of my favorite salads. Because it gives, we were driving past, and the reason I wanted that salad is because we're driving past Subway, and there's a lot of people at Subway, and I was like, I really miss Subway. Because I can't eat at Subway because I have a gluten allergy. And having not known for the first 42 years of my life that I had a gluten allergy, like, the past couple years, you miss the things you've always had access to, like a Subway sandwich, right? And I was like, I would really like a sandwich. And he's all, well, Jersey Mike's has gluten-free bread. First of all, Jersey Mike's gluten-free bread is disgusting. The second any moisture hits it, it turns into paste. It's gross. I'm not eating paste. I have texture issues. I have, no. We're not eating paste. Not today, sir. And not only that, I'm not currently eating bread because I'm trying to get my diabetes under control. And I haven't been eating bread since January. Which is fine. Even gluten-free bread, I just keep it all out of the house. I've had like 4 slices of gluten-free toast since January 2nd, which is perfectly fine. But that's what the life I'm living currently. So I wanted the salad, you know. The salad sounded good. It's all the things that's on a, well, it's some of the things that's on, because there's green peppers in it too. That's on the Subway sub that I make, except there's no bread, so it was fine, you know. So, I'm sitting there eating my salad with Mr. Cinnamon, and I'm watching Jujus N Stitches live, and I was like, you know, I need to work on the Fair Isle blanket. So, I went and I got everything out. Actually, I had already worked on this one at that point. So, I finished the blue one, the section, because I'm doing sections with the blue one. The blue one's different than the other one. Let me rewind. Every month, Jujus N Stitches releases a new... She's been releasing several patterns every month. We started off with January. She released a snowflake. And then she gives you... Her blanket is 6 repeats of the graph. I'm doing 7 because I have a bigger body than her. And I want it to, like, cover my body. So I'm doing 7 repeats, and probably... I think she's going to do a border. I'm not positive on that. And it's a monthly thing. She releases it the first Friday of the month. And then we work up our swatches and whatever colors, yarns we choose, etc. I decided to make a secondary one, but this is going to be Dutch tile style. And I'm combining 4 graphs per month. So this is technically January, February, March, April's graphs. And I combined them. This is the first quarter of the year, second quarter of the year, etc. So I started working on this one. And then after the live, I pulled this one out to work on it. And I pulled it out and I sat it on the back of the couch. And I'm like, I kind of want to sit on the porch. This was so crazy, you guys. I kind of want to go sit on the porch. Like, it looks kind of cool outside. There's a little breeze. I could see it out the windows. And so I was like, I wonder if it's too hot to sit on the porch. And Mr. Cinnamon was like, well, go see. So I sat everything on the back of the couch. The whole ripped section of the back of the couch. And I went and I stepped onto the back deck. And the wind is whipping through. And I was like, I think a storm is coming. And I don't check the weather regularly, so I was not aware if a storm was coming or not, right? And it was whoosh, like loud. My backyard is set up almost like a cul-de-sac, whereas all the neighbors' backyards face each other almost in a circle. Because I live it's almost like a triangle, and all the houses' backyards kind of face each other. So it's like a big open, and when wind gusts go through there, like it's coming through because it's an open space. And Bentley went out in the yard and he got scared because he's looking around like, what is happening, right? And I'm trying to get him back in the house. And at this point, I hear the metal awning that we have over the lower section of the patio, and it made a loud pop. Like the wind came up underneath it and the roof is like metal and it popped it. And I'm like, this thing is either going to get tipped over, blown over, or one of them roof things are going to fly off. I'm trying to get Bentley in the house, and at this point I'm kind of panicking a little bit. And so I stepped back to go grab his treats because he will always come in for a snack, always. And when I backed off, he ran into the house. So just me standing on the porch prevented him from coming back to the porch. So I get him in the house, and I'm standing back on the porch again. Now he's in the house. I'm like, okay, I'm just watching the sky for a few minutes to see what's happening. Because I like storms. I love rain. And at this point, I'm still like, if the wind calms down, I want to sit on the porch and crochet. I hear a loud, and I mean a loud crack. And then I hear what sounds like a tree falling. So when a tree falls, it hits things on the way down. So I was like, phew, phew, phew. It was loud. And because of the cul-de-sac, it is echoing. I still don't know where the tree is that fell, but I heard it. And it was not my tree, because we still have that big, we have a giant evergreen on the side of our house that when we had that last winter storm, it like messed up our fence because it was just losing branches left and right. They were snapping off big trees, branches. So when I heard the snap and the falling of the tree, I'm like, okay, I need to go in the house. And so I got in the house. I no sooner get in the house and we're getting alerts on our phone through the Ring app, because I have cameras on the house, that someone spotted a tornado. And there was a picture of the tornado in the post, and it was right up the road, like right up the road. And so I'm like, the kids are both upstairs, and I yelled up for them. I was like, get downstairs and get downstairs now. And they're like, we're coming, we're coming. And Mr. Cinnamon says really, really loud, too loud, there's a tornado in the area. Little man is terrified of storms. I mean, he's 9. But he also watches storm videos, which I keep telling him to stop watching them. I keep turning them off and telling him to knock it off, like, because they scare him, but he still keeps watching them. And he was playing a video game that you can create storms, and I think that started to get in his head, and I'm like, he hyperfixates on things, so he can learn as much as he can about it, but it also scares him sometimes. And I'm like, I have to try to control what he does. And so they both came downstairs. I was like, Juju, help me empty out the closet. Now at this point, we're in the closet from the In the Closet series. We're in the craft closet. All of my buckets of makes are in there. There's a bed in there because my niece keeps her mattress in there. And when she's here, all of her stuff is in that closet. But when she left to go back to college, I put all my craft stuff back in there. So we're pulling buckets out. I laid the mattress flat down in the closet, got the 3 dogs in, got the 2 kids in, got myself in, and Mr. Cinnamon is standing in the doorway, and he kind of fit in, but like he kind of didn't. And I told him, I said, if there's a tornado The bathroom, like the hall is here and the bathroom, the closet's here and the bathroom is here. And the bathroom and the closet are both the innermost rooms in our house. I said, if you hear a storm or you hear, get in that bathroom and close the door, because I'm closing this closet door. So he just kind of, like, he tried to come into the closet and stand up, because there's no way he's sitting on that floor in that little bit of space. He's a big man. And so he tried to come in and close the door, and we were okay for a few minutes, but then it started to get really hot really fast. I'm like, okay, crack the door open again and go get a chair or something to sit on, because this ain't working. You can't stand, because there's a shelf right behind his head. Like, it was a whole thing. And I posted in the Facebook group because I was scared, and I was like, okay, like, there's a tornado that has been touched down. Everybody is hiding. Everybody's like, we're put in the closet, and, you know, Juju's making faces in the background of the picture. The little man had just been crying hysterically because the entire time I'm asking him to help me pull stuff out of the closet, he's freaking out that he's going to die, and that we're all going to die, and the storm's going to take our house away. Like, he is crying, and I'm just telling him, get out of the way so I can clean the closet out. So I got him in the closet, I got him calmed down. And then last night he refused to sleep in his bed because he was still scared. So he slept on the floor in my bedroom again. And I'm like, it was scary. It was scary. So we stayed in the closet until I heard the birds chirping outside. Because usually if there's a storm coming, the birds hunker down. I mean, they're not stupid. They can sense that the storm is coming. So I've always learned that when you hear the birds chirping again, the storm is passing, because the birds feel safe enough to come out again. So we came out of the closet, and this time I think a half an hour had lapsed. And I came out of the closet, I went and I looked out the front door, and there's like a swarm of crows flying away from where the storm looked like it was in the sky. And I was like, okay, the crows are coming this way. That means the weather isn't this way, because they can see better than I can from up in the sky. And then the birds were all chirping really loud, and the cardinals that live in my bush in the backyard was like hopping out and coming out to eat. So I was like, all right, storm is over. We're good. We can come out. Well, before we went into the closet, the power went out because we heard that loud snap, which was, I'm assuming, a tree. So our power went out. Now, we had only had the air back for like a day and a half, 2 days. It's still hot outside. And I went into panic mode because there's no way I can go through another God knows how many days with no air in the house. And now I don't have fans. And now the food in the refrigerator is going to go bad. The food in the freezer is going to go bad. I had dinner half cooked in the crock pot. I went into panic. So I took my funds for my couch out of my savings account, and I ran to Home Depot. And at this point, the power had been out maybe 2 hours. I said, I know, because we need to be able to cook. The stove is electric, the microwave is electric. We had no propane in the gas and the grill outside. My smoker is electric. Washer and dryer electric. Like, everything in this house is electric. I can't do nothing. And I'm panicking. Took my couch money that I was saving up, and I ran and bought a generator. And I'm like, at the very least, I can run the microwave and the refrigerator and the freezer, and we'll be fine, and then we'll have food at least. At least. Because I can cook a great many things in the microwave. I can. I mean, I just can. And if not the microwave, I can plug in a crock pot, and I can cook in the crock pot, and everything will be fine. I panicked. I went and bought a generator, which was my couch fund. It was my couch fund. I'm nowhere near having enough to have a couch. I had enough to buy a generator. Got in the driveway of my house after purchasing said generator. We called into the house to Juju to come move the van so that we could pull in backwards and unload the generator. Child answered the phone and said the power just went back on. Now I'm getting a headache. And even right now telling you the story, I'm getting a really bad headache. I acted out of fear and I panicked. I went and spent my money on a generator, and all of this is setting in. all of it is setting in. My couch fund is gone, and I'm about to cry, and I'm upset. And Mr. Cinnamon's like, wait, we can return the generator. And I'm like, can we though? Do they take generators back? I don't know. So I'm like, I need to go in the house. I have a really bad headache because the stress of everything is just right there. It's like, I felt like I got hit in the head with a hammer. Came in the house and Juju looked at me, and I'm mad that I'm like, why didn't you call me before I purchased this to tell me the lights were back on? I didn't say that to her, but that's what I'm thinking. Like, why couldn't the lights went on 10 minutes before? And I walk in and look at her. She goes, Mom, I kid you not. The phone rang, and as I swiped up to answer Daddy's call, the lights turned on. Like, it happened from the phone. I was like, you have got to be kidding me right now. I sat down at the kitchen table trying to figure out what we're going to do with dinner, because now dinner has been in the crock pot. The crock pot stayed warm that whole time, but it wasn't no longer cooking, and it was beef. So the beef has to get to a certain point for it to be tender enough for you to chew it, and it has to be even more tender than that for me to be able to chew it, because I have a partial up here. I have like a bridge put in, and it does not like anything hard. Like, I can't chew anything hard or chewy or anything like that. And then over here I have where I had a tooth that, like, I had a baby tooth in here, and so there's a gap because there was never an adult tooth to replace it, and so the baby tooth came out. There's just a hole there, and I'm not having this side of my teeth put a bridge in, because I'm not happy with this bridge, and it's a whole situation. So in order for me to chew beef specifically, or some chicken, it has to be really tender. Otherwise I have pain, or it gets stuck in between those two teeth. Like, it's a whole thing. It's disgusting. It's gross. I don't like teeth, but like, it's what I live with. So I'm like, okay, I can't eat this. So I'm gonna make breakfast. We had eggs, and I made some hash brown sticks, and I had a couple of those, which I don't generally allow myself potatoes, but I allowed myself a couple of those. And then I threw some bacon in the oven. And then by the time all of that was done, the crock pot decided that the beef is done. So, and it was curried beef. So I did like a tikka masala sauce with beef, which I know is blasphemy in itself, but it's what I had in the house. So, and it was delicious. And I fixed myself a little bit of the tikka masala beef, and I put some of the hash brown sticks in it and the egg, and it was delicious. And I'm like, okay, but do Indian people eat like this? Because this is the perfect meal, and it was delicious. And I know the cows are sacred in India. Totally respect that. I love cow. I eat cows, okay? It's good. But even if you had like a traditional lamb or goat or something in the tikka masala, or even chicken, the egg and the potato with it was delicious. And I know potato is commonly used, but I was looking up recipes, and the only thing even close to what I had created from throwing food into a bowl was shakshuka, but shakshuka does not have meat in it. It's just eggs with the curry style sauce. And so it was like, I was like, okay, somebody needs to know about this. This was so good. It was so good. The egg with the curry flavor. And I make mine spicy. I like all my Indian food spicy. I like all my food spicy. So I put a little bit of Tapatio hot sauce in there. Because, I mean, why not mix all the genres of food? Put a little bit of Mexican hot sauce in my Indian/American food with my breakfast. It was delicious. So after all that, I came and started to work on, because now the lights are back on, I finished the blanket. Well, I finished it this morning because I couldn't finish it last night. So back to the blanket, back to crochet. So we have January, February, March, April. But at this point, past the second strip, it no longer is that. So now we have winter to spring, summer, fall, which is the way we're doing it. Then we're going to do winter. And then Lilo N Stitches is such a beautiful person. She is designing, or trying to design me, a special square for this that I want to put across the bottom, but I'm going to wait until she's done designing it. And then after, I'll show you guys what she did. But hopefully that all works out. I know that she's brilliant and she can do it, so I'm not worried about that at all. But so the first 4 months are very traditional. These are the first 4 patterns she released for the tutorials, which was January, February, March, April. And then she also, this was May. May was what she released. She released a house for May. Now, story time. Okay, because I've explained this every month so far. January, snowflake makes sense. February, the heart makes sense. Because Valentine's Day, but also because February is the National Heart Association raising awareness for heart disease, which is very personal to me. March, this was kind of shamrocky. April is the month my dad died. He loved tulips. I have an entire garden of tulips that are planted that bloom in April in my backyard. So that's personal. We purchased our house in May of 2000 and I want to say 13. I want to say 2013, somewhere around there. I'm also doing divider strips in between each row like I'm doing with the other blanket. Juju is born in June, so I made a strawberry because she loves strawberries. May, June, July. I just like the butterfly and I wanted to add it because the butterfly was one of her bonus patterns. She does a lot of bonus patterns. Like every month she's been releasing 2, 3, a lot of extra bonus. And this was a bonus and this was a bonus. And you can add them in wherever you want. She has the linked wedding rings. She has some of the ones I'm about to show you in a minute. Like she has quite a few extra. And I purchased whatever ones I decide I want to put into my blanket. And then she did the sunshine, so that's August sunshine. I mean, that makes sense. Me and little man's birthday. And then I wanted to do a fall strip. And to me, all of these things are fallish. So I did the sailboat because the sailboat was her August pattern as well. And then I put a paw print for September because Bentley was born in September and he just turned 1 year old on September 3rd. She did a Jack Skellington face, a spooky face. Which I put in for October, and then the leaf is November technically. So it, like I said, this is going to be the fall. It's not necessarily going to be the months because the months are shifted over by the sailboat. So while if I didn't add the sailboat in, this would be September, October, November. But I like the sailboat and I wanted the sailboat to be there because that makes me think of the end of summer starting into fall. And then I added another, so that is the full, this is just going to be tapestry sized or baby blanket sized. And I'm doing divider in between each section. This is not going to get very much bigger. So I'm going to do a winter strip, which she has a tree out that I'm going to use. And then I don't know what she's going to do for October or November or December for that matter. So I'm going to just kind of put that on the sidelines for now and figure that out. And then the bottom, if she's able to do the strip that, or the pattern that her and I are talking about, I'm going to do that across the bottom of just those. And I'm really, really excited about that. And if she can't, I'll figure something else out. But it's like, it's fun. I'm having fun with this blanket. This is, I have not ever done one of the Jada and Stitches yearly crochet alongs because I'm not good at sticking with things long term. I know this about myself. I usually lose interest halfway through or I get bored easily, which is why when you see me start a project, I try to finish it as quickly as possible so that I don't lose interest, so that I don't hang it up there with those 3 project bags of projects that I know that I will never finish. Because once I put it down, it's out of my mind. I don't come back to it. I don't remember it. And then I start to hate it because I haven't finished it. And then I start to hate myself because I haven't finished it. It's this whole thing. Okay. So I've never done any of her other crochet alongs because I didn't think I'd be able to stick to it. And I wasn't real sure I was going to be able to stick through with this one, especially in May. Like I had a 2-month pause, I think, where I just could not. I didn't want to do the house. And I didn't know what else I wanted to put into the blanket. And I started to feel like kind of stuck. And so I'm like, I'm just going to put it away and I will come back to it. And then she released the cap and gown, or the graduation caps. And then I was like, okay, but that represents Juju. She graduated in May. And then I wanted to do it as a memory blanket, as well as just I mean, this year has been memorable in a lot of ways. We've had a lot of firsts, we've had a lot of celebrations, we've had a lot of amazing things, and some sad things happen. And I wanted to memorialize that, and it really made me dig into the blanket. And then I've had fun with this. So now we're gonna do a quick recap. I'm not gonna do a full recap because you guys have seen this literally every month. January, February's a beating heart. March is, I'm gonna call it Argyle. I rolled onto the blanket. Okay. Multicolored tulips to represent my dad's garden. Cap for Juju and her school colors. Rainbow diamonds for my daughter because that's her birthday. Sunshine for June. I love, love, love the boats and the sunshine together. I actually want to do a blanket that is just boats at the bottom and like the sun or the kind of like I did here. I want to do a whole blanket of that. I think that would be so much fun. And then she did a chain link for September, which was circles with a chain in between. And to me, there's nothing wrong with the pattern. I didn't like it because it reminds me of like bad memories from my childhood. It makes me think of like jail and prison and bad people, and more specifically family members. And so like every time I looked at it, I was like, I don't want that. What can I do instead? And then when I was working on this, I really liked the way the maple leaf turned out. So I was like, you know what does September represent to me? Fall. The beginning of fall is like, I think it's September 20th. I wanted something fall because I want the bottom of my blanket to be kind of like the bottom of this is, to where it's like very moving into fall colors and stuff. So I pulled out this and I made leaves, and I'm so in love with this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the chain link with Jada. Like, it's beautiful pattern, and I was trying to think of ways to make it more colorful so that it was not a trauma response for me to see it, but it's a trauma response for me. Yeah, so I was like, we're gonna leave it off. And I even discussed it with Mr. Simmons. I was like, because what Jada is doing is every third month she's doing a pattern that goes all the way across. Third month, 6th month, and the 9th month would be another pattern that goes all the way across. And I was like, Mr. Cinnamon, what is your opinion? Because is it gonna look weird that this doesn't have the pattern all the way across? And then I'm like, okay, well, is she gonna make another pattern all the way across, like garland or something for Christmas? Like, I'm trying to predict what's going on. I don't have a clue. She's not telling me, I'm not asking, it's fine. But I was like, I'm just gonna do the leaves. What do you think? And I asked his opinion. He's all, I think that would be just fine. I don't think it's gonna make a difference. So I don't think it will either. I'm loving this blanket. I'm loving the colorful one, but I'm also really loving the Dutch tile one. I love the creativity of her designs, but I also love that she is allowing us to, by adding extra bonus designs, she's allowing us to make this blanket whatever we want it to be. She's allowing us options so that if we have trauma responses to something as stupid as a chain link, and I realize how ridiculous it is to have a trauma response from that, but it is what it is. I come from a long line of criminals, or criminal-like people. It's a miracle I am what I am. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I have been working on. I got project bags absolutely everywhere. And there's another bag on the floor that is the Halloween headbands. So we got, at least I'm keeping it, although I'm gonna say this is my largest project bag, and it's not big enough for this blanket at this point. Like, I'm shoving it in there. And I really need to hang those all up. So this one has Halloween colored yarns in it, because this was my knitting for the Halloween headbands I did. But also, okay, me and little man figured this out the other day. So I lost the band for this. It like broke. This is a slap bracelet. And little man was going through my binder and stuff, and he's like, can I have this? I was like, can you hand me that? It's like, no, first of all, you can't have it because you have slap bracelets. This one's mine. I said, but hand me that. And I went, oh, hang on. Instant yarn band. Holds the yarn together. And then the rest of this is just Premier Everyday in the acrylic, the neon colors. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 project bags. My beautiful sweater. So yeah, how was your guys' weekend? Was it as eventful as mine? I hope not. It has been sheer insanity in the Rivera household. And I'm tired. So with that, I'm going to let you go because I have to edit this video and upload it. And I have to go eat breakfast. And it's already noon. And I haven't taken my medication. But my blood sugar was good this morning. So like, I'm not in a hurry to go eat. I'm comfortable. I don't feel yucky or shaky or anything. So I'm going to go eat some breakfast / lunch. Take my medication. Edit and upload this video. Get little man ready. Pack a project bag so that we can drive over the hill so they can go to see wrestling. And then he is so excited he doesn't have to go to school tomorrow. But like, whatever. Sometimes I find it more important that kids have experiences than other than just going to school every day. And they do miss school periodically throughout the year because they learn, and I know he's not really learning anything from wrestling, okay? I get that. But sometimes, like the childhood memories, your childhood goes by really fast. And especially for him, he has a difficult time because of his ADHD, and like he has to conform to a lot of rules that are not comfortable for him and that are hard for him. And so for me especially, like, and I did it with Juju and I did it with my nieces, like sometimes we used to skip school just to go for a walk in the park when it was a nice fall day. And we would look at the leaves and we would talk about nature and we would just enjoy being outside. And I know that homeschool parents do that kind of stuff, but like I think regular school parents should do it too because they're not getting that experience at school. So I see nothing wrong with taking my kids out of school, and I know teachers will disagree. It's so important. They're gonna miss a lesson on whatever. I mean, yeah, they might miss a lesson that the government told the school that they need to teach our children, but I'm also teaching them other stuff as well that I find it important that they know. So, is he learning anything from wrestling? Absolutely not. But he's going to be around a bunch of rowdy, loud wrestling fans. And I've given him permission to be as loud and as obnoxious, and he's allowed to curse tonight if he wants, because that is the situation he's going to be in. And I figure it is not encouraging bad behavior with him, but it's allowing him an outlet that he can be whatever he wants to be for the night, as long as he doesn't break any rules or get in trouble. Like, because there's going to be people cussing around him. Like, you can cuss at the wrestlers, I don't care. Just don't piss anybody off around you, and don't hit nobody, and don't, like, you know. But you can scream at the wrestlers, and you can, like, you know, tell the wrestlers are idiots. Because that's common in a wrestling match. Especially, like, the WWE. We all know it's a big production, right? Like, just go do whatever you feel like doing. Just listen to your cousin, okay? She can handle him almost as well as the rest of us, so I'm not worried about that at all. And he's really pretty good at events. He is. He's just never been to a nighttime event. And in the nighttime, he is way more high-strung because his medicine wears off at like 6 o'clock. And, yeah. I just hope he has a good time. I really do. I hope they both have a good time. My dad, and if you guys don't know, my dad died 5 years ago. And my dad was never really a part of little man's life because a lot of reasons. He tried to be. His wife did not like me. His wife hates me to this day. Don't know why. I think she had a lot of jealousy issues because my dad would call and talk to me for hours and hours. And I don't think he talked to her the way he talked to me. And I knew my dad still was in love with my mother. Even though my mom had died, I knew he still loved her. And had she not ever gotten to the situation she was in, he would have stayed with her till she died. But things happen, you know. And Hermione, on the other hand, my dad was like a father to her. Like, he always rescued her from all the bad stuff, as well as me and Mr. Cinnamon, but my dad was always there. Always. And he said that the reason he was better to the nieces than he was to my kids was because they needed him more, and I never understood that. Because my parents have a father, I never understood that concept in his brain. They get more presents because they don't have a dad. I don't worry about them as much because they have a dad. And what it equated to is my kids didn't feel as loved by him because they had a dad. My dad was a very complex man. I loved him, but some of his ways of doing things were very hurtful to other people without him realizing he was hurtful. But my dad loved all sports. Fishing, wrestling, American Gladiators, baseball, football, bowling, curling. Like, he watched all of it on the TV. All of it. Everything. Anything that's masculine. He watched it. And sometimes non-masculine. Like, if it was female sports, he didn't care. It was sports. Wrestling was a really big deal to him. As a matter of fact, a lot of people said my dad looked like Hulk Hogan, and he kind of looked like a miniature Hulk Hogan. He had like the mustache and everything. He did resemble Hulk Hogan a lot, and we have heard that more times than I can count. So for Hermione wanting to go to wrestling and take little man, I know that's because of my dad. She is devastated that he's not here. He was it for her. He was everything. Her world revolved around him. So, the wrestling is a big deal, like, on many, many levels. So, with that, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna go eat, and I will see you guys tomorrow. I don't know what we're doing tomorrow or the rest of the week. I have nothing planned as of right now, but I do have some upcoming plans coming up. I have some good news coming up. Like, there's good things coming up on the future, so, you know, just bear with me as we figure everything out and get things planned out and worked out and done. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.